Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm Ejikeme Bishop Sogweji, the webinar and editorial board chairman of ISSUP Nigeria chapter. With me here today to moderate this session is Dr. Martin Awoge, the director of ISSUP Nigeria chapter. And working with us in the background is Mr. Kwado trying to give us technical support. We would like to welcome you all to this important webinar where we will explore the role of the family in substance use prevention. For those of you joining us for the first time, ISOP, International Society of Substance Use Professionals, is a global membership organization. At present, we have over 42,000 members worldwide, working in prevention, harm reduction, treatment, and recovery support. ISOP supports its members by providing access to training and credentialing, opportunities to build professional networks, and a platform to share knowledge through our website, virtual and in-person events, and our national chapters in over 39 countries. If you are not yet an ISOP member, we invite you to join our global network of drug demand reduction professionals. You can apply by visiting our website. Before we begin this webinar, here are a few logistical details. At the end of today's presentation, we'll have a question and answer session. Please send in your questions through the chat box on the GoToWebinar control panel, and we will do our best to answer as many as possible. If you would like to rewatch the webinar or share it with your colleagues, the recording will be available on our YouTube channel and website. Please note that this webinar is for informational and educational purposes only. It does not constitute medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Our speaker today is Dr. Oluseyi Odewale. Dr. Oluseyi holds a PhD in guidance and counseling and is the head of research at the Shelter Youth and Community Network. She has extensive expertise in fostering healthy relationships and promoting emotional well-being in people. Dr. Luche is dedicated to creating safe spaces where children and teens can thrive both socially and academically. As a certified national trainer, Dr. Dewale delivers evidence-based drug prevention trainings such as the Universal Prevention Curriculum for Substance Use, UPC, Child Intervention for Living Drug-Free, CHILD, UNODC School Drug Education, and Global Resilience Oral Workshop, Grow Strong and Grow Free, and a faith-based resilience building initiative. Her specialization in school, family, and community prevention interventions has enabled her to train teachers and school administrators on cultivating positive and compassionate learning environments. An ardent advocate for children, Dr. Dewale brings decades of experience working with young people of all ages. She is a published author with her best-selling parenting book, Bringing Out the Best in Your Child, highly regarded for its practical insights. She is a member of professional organizations such as the Association of Professional Counselors in Nigeria, APRO-CON, and the International Society of Substance Use Professionals, ISOP, solidifying her commitment to her field. It is our pleasure today to have Dr. Odewale in our webinar. Over to you, Doc.
Thank you, the moderator. I sincerely appreciate Dr. Martins Agbeje and the entire team of ISSUP Nigeria, as well as ISSUP Global for this opportunity. In today's webinar, I'll be speaking on the role of the family in substance use prevention. Substance use is a global problem, and my dear nation, Nigeria, is not an exception. When we talk about substance use, there are many ways of tackling this global challenge. Prevention is one of them, which is the best and the cheapest. Others include treatment and recovery. When we talk about prevention, the first and the best place to prevent substance use is in the family, because everything starts and ends with family. So in today's session, we are going to be looking at family dynamics and drug use, recognizing risk and protective factors, early detection and intervention, overview of evidence-based family prevention programs, and strengthening parenting skills for prevention and support for drug-using family members. We all know that the family is the foundation of a society. And when we talk about growth and development of a child and the behavior of a child, family plays a vital role in shaping the behavior of every member of his family. Whatever we are talking about, whether substance use or any other behavior error, family is the first line of defense. And according to United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, 2003, family is defined as those that are meaningfully bonded, whether or not they have a legal or genetic bond. And this could include biological siblings, parents or grandparents, aunts or cousins. It could include those family friends, step-parents, common law relatives, and caretakers. You can see that the definition of family is so wide. Now, the family can be a contributing factor or a factor that will help a child, that will not allow a child to be involved in substance use and every other behavior error, behavior errors. So family is very important when we talk about those factors that could predispose a child to the use of substances. Yes, we all know that there are many factors that could contribute to the growth and development of a child, to a child's behavior. We talk about genetic makeup of a child, the temperament, and also the environmental factors. But family dynamics play an important role in shaping the behavior of a child. And in particular, it is clear from research that competent parenting is very it's an aspect that will really help parents to prevent their young ones from using substances, because family members, they are the primary influencers in a child's life, because that is where life begins from. So we talk about their behaviors, their attitudes, and their values. Every of this shape the behavior of a child, the perception of a child concerning substance use, and also the decision to either go for the use of substances or not. Now, the role of the family in socializing youth. When we are talking about socialization, it's about parenting. It's about what young people in the family have seen their family members doing. So, family has a big role to play in actually instilling moral values, attitudes, and beliefs in every child. And it's through this relationship, through this interaction, that young people in the family will learn how to relate with other people in the society, talking about social competence. And it's even in the family that they begin to adopt those behaviors that are in line with social norms, those behavior that will help other people in the society as well as helping them also. For example, being kind to each other, to talk calmly to one another, helping each other in one way or the other. And it's also from the family that they will learn how to do away with antisocial behaviors, such as bullying, such as breaking rules. As a whole, the family has a big role to play in helping every child to be able to behave in conformity with the norms of the society, with what is acceptable in every society. Now, we have domains of socialization. When we talk about domains of socialization, we are talking about those areas in which parents, caregivers, the family members can actually prevent substance use in the family. And number one domain of socialization is protection, because it is the responsibility of the family to make sure that every member of that family is safe. So safety is one of the areas that we can actually prevent young people from using substances. And the second one is mutual reciprocity. This has to do with give and take appropriately to the needs, to the reasonable needs of a child. That child in turn will also respond positively to rules and regulations and be able to comply with whatever the parents or the family members are saying. And the third domain of socialization is control. Discipline is one way of socializing children in the family, because children need discipline as much as they need love. And it has been discovered through research that harsh parenting, like punishment, inflicting injuries on a child, can lead to problem behaviors such as substance use, or even strong verbal attack on a child can lead to the use of substances. And another domain of socialization is guided learning. It is in the family that children are learn children learn how to be able to do well in their academics and also in their daily life experiences. Parents, caregivers, every family members, they guide young people, coach them about their schoolwork and also how to do well in life. And the third domain of socialization is group participation. The family is the first point of a child belonging to a social group. Before a child will go to the society, going outside to relate with other people, everything starts from the family, from what parents are doing, what children see their parents doing. And as a result of that, if they are able to have good relationship with their family member, it's going to also impact on their relationship with the outside world. And even talking about group participation, how do parents relate with their children? There are many parenting styles. We have authoritative, authoritarian, permissive, and neglective. When we talk about authoritarian style of parenting, it has to do with when a child has nothing to say in a family. The parents are, or the family members, they are very high in control but low in responsiveness. Whereas authoritative parenting has to do with a parent is in control. At the same time, they allow those children to also share their feelings and their thoughts. While permissive parenting style has to do with, oh, a child is just there on his or her own, doing whatever he likes. The parents are so much responding to the needs of the children without any control. And we have seen that children need control as much as they need love. And the fourth one is neglective parenting style. All these have one or two things to do about socializing our children, because socialization is about parenting. And when we are able to socialize our children in a proper way, it's going to impact on every aspect of their lives. Now we want to look at family dynamics and drug use. When we talk about family dynamics, what are we talking about? Family dynamics has to do with the patterns of interacting and relating with each other in the family. How do they communicate in this particular family? How do they make decisions? How do they show affection to each other? In simpler forms, it means how a family functions as a whole. That is what we mean by family dynamics. And in a family, relationship is very important. When every member of the family are able to relate well with each other, when they have strong emotional connections, it provides a supportive environment where every members of that family, children, fathers, mothers, uncles, aunts, cousins, they feel valued and understood. This will actually reduce the likelihood of any one of these members any member of the family to turn to drugs for solace, because If family members are not there to listen to them, to understand them, to recognize that they are human beings, they will go outside there and look for solace. And it could be with peers that are using substances. Another angle to family dynamics is parental role modeling. Children learn by observation, they learn by modeling, they learn by what they see. So when parents demonstrate healthy behaviors, whenever they are stressed, whenever they are having issues of concern, they avoid using of substances as a coping mechanisms. They are actually setting a positive example for their children to follow. Because sometimes some adults, when they are having issues, maybe loss of job, maybe some form of illnesses, some challenges, they tend to use substances to cope. That is an unhealthy way of coping with challenges, coping with stress. And children are watching because they listen with their eyes and not with their ears. Another angle to family dynamics is family structure. When there is a stable family structure where the roles and responsibilities of each of the family members are clearly stated, this will actually help them when they are having any issue of concern to be able to still come together and solve their problems. It fosters a sense of security and reduces the likelihood of them taking to the use of drugs as a coping way in that particular family. So stable family structure is very important where every member of the family are together. Now let's look at risk and protective factors because it's important for us when we are talking about prevention of substance use in the family. We need to understand the risk and the protective factors. What are the risks and protective factors? Let me start from risk factors. Risk factors are those conditions, those situations, those circumstances that could put a child at the point that put a child at the point of thinking about using drugs. Oh, it's like now I need to use drugs. These are risk factors. Number one is family history of substance use. When there's that history of someone in the family using substances is a risk factor. It could put a child or a teenager or any member of the family at risk of using substances. Family conflicts or breakdown, chaotic home environment is another risk factor for drug use. When there is uproar in the family, no love, everybody is just on their own, doing whatever they like at any point in time. This could also put a child at risk of using substances. Another risk factor is lack of supervision and inconsistent discipline. The brain of young people is still developing, and the last part to develop is a place of judgment. It's called prefrontal cortex, and it's for executive functions. What are the executive functions? Planning, memory, learning, impulse control, ability to weigh long-term consequences. That is why parents or any significant order in a family are very important to help these young people at this point in time, to supervise them, to monitor them, to be consistent in the way we discipline our children, in the way we teach them, in the way we correct them. Another risk factor for substance use is poor communication and relationship. Yes, some family members they communicate, but how are they communicating? Some very poor communication. I assume that you should know. No. Some their communication is even negative. Oh, I know you, I know you. I know you can't do it. No. All this can actually lead young people to the use of substances. Another factor, another risk factor is when there's lack of bonding and insecure relationship with parents. Yes, parents are there. Some are there physically, but they're not there emotionally. Some children are just there. When they have issues of concern, they cannot even go to their parents or any member of their family. Yes, sometimes their biological parents may not be there, but even when there's no where there's lack of a significant relationship with a caring adult at all, this could also be a risk factor. Or when parents or siblings abuse substances or they suffer from mental illnesses. Another risk factor is involvement in criminal behavior. Some people engage in substance use to actually uh, like help their criminal behavior, to help their criminal behavior. So when someone is involved in criminal behavior, is also a risk factor for substance use. What about social isolation? The way God wired every human being, the need for belongingness, the need for association, the need for affiliation is highly important for everyone. So when an individual is isolated in a family, somebody may be in the midst of a family, but is not there emotionally, it's just there physically. This could also be a risk factor for substance use. Now let's look at protective factors. Protective factors are those factors that will help a child not to even think of using substances, that could mitigate against the use of substances. Number one, when there are clear family values and expectations around drug use. When it's clear in a family that, oh, in this family, we don't encourage the use of substances. And not just by mouth, but by what every family members do. Another protective factor is strong emotional bonds and involvement in children's life. It is not enough to pay children's school fees, to take them on vacation, to buy gift for them. There must be uh, this bond that whenever a child is thinking of anybody to talk to, my family, my family will be the first that will come to his or her mind. Another protective factor is positive communication and conflict resolution. In any relationship, disagreement is inevitable. But how do we resolve conflicts in our families? All these are protective factors. Do we communicate to every member of the family? Do we have positive communication among every members of the family? All these are protective factors. Giving each other emotional support and empathy whenever we are going through any form of challenge or another. Role modeling is another protective factor. What are we teaching our young people? Because they learn by observation and by imitation. How do we manage stress? How do we cope when we are having some challenges? All these are protective factors. Parental involvement and supervision is a protective factor also. We must not leave children unsupervised, unmonitored. At every point in time, we should be able to know where our children are, what they are doing. This is a protective factor for substance use. We also need to encourage healthy activities and hobbies, outdoor activities, or even indoor activities, encouraging them to do that. This is going to also improve the bonding between the family members. And when there's any issue or any challenge, professional help is also seeking for professional help is also a protective factor. If you are able to uh, address all these risk and protective factors, be able to prevent substance use in the family. Now, let's look at early detection and intervention. There are warning signs. There are signs that may indicate a potential substance use. But these signs are not there like that, that, oh, immediately we see this sign, oh, it means that this child is using substance, or this family member is using substance. No, they are just signs that we need to act upon, that we need to actually intervene. Not that we just look at it and just remove, no, not doing anything about it. We have some behavioral changes, such as withdrawal, academic decline, or when you begin to see a child associating with new peer groups. Oh, I'm not more interested in that in those in my friend in my pattern of friendship, in people that I was moving with before. All these are signs that may indicate potential substance use. And when we are able to detect early, what do we do with early detection? We intervene. There should be appropriate interventions. And how do we intervene as a family? Families can intervene by engaging in honest conversations. I'm from the great country Nigeria. Many people are used to that in my area. Whenever there's a challenge, they begin to call other family members, call everybody in the neighborhood. Oh, come and see what this child has done. Oh, this child wants to put the name of the family in the mud, the family names that we have built over the years. That is not the time to engage in such. Engage in honest conversation with that child and seek professional guidance on the way forward. And as we are doing that, we need to also balance discipline and support. And how do we do this? We need to address that drug issue without alienating the individual, without saying, oh, you are no more my child. I'm disowning you now. Oh, this has never happened in my family. For you to do this, it means you're no longer a member of this family. No, we need to show empathy and focus on solutions. What do we need to do? That should be our first point of action. And by doing that, we'll be able to help that child early because early intervention is very important. Now, there are evidence-based interventions for drug prevention in families. And what are evidence-based prevention interventions? Well, we see some of the programs that we have that can actually help young people from engaging in substance use. We have evidence-based program for families. So I'm going to mention some of the programs, the target ages, and also some of the examples of these programs. Number one, we have home visitation. This is for prenatal. When we talk about prenatal, it means a child that is still in the womb. We can still prevent substance use. Also for the infancy stage and the early childhood. And we have examples like nurse family partnership. Another one is parents as teachers. We also have parenting skills program. This program is for infancy stage, childhood, and also adolescence stage. And we have examples like Incredible Years, Triple P, and Guiding Good Choices. We also have Family Skills program. And this is for early childhood, middle childhood, and adolescence stage. We have Dare to Be You for families with children 2 to 5. We also have Strengthening Families program for parents and youth 10 to 14 years. Another family-based program, evidence-based family program is intensive family intervention or family therapy. This is for childhood stage and adolescent stage. Examples of such programs we have multisystemic therapy and multidimensional family therapy. Now we are going to look at some of these programs. Number one, nurse family partnership. What are the goals of this program? Number one is to promote mothers' health and well-being by doing things like helping them stop smoking cigarettes, helping to stop drinking alcohol while they are pregnant, and helping them lose weight. The second goal is to promote child health by encouraging mothers to form caring and nurturing relationships with their newborns. And the third goal is to help mothers change their own life course development by setting goals for their future, completing or getting more education, and planning for their own and for their family's future. And the content of this program varies depending on the needs of the mother. But there are some topics covered in the program. Topics like personal health, how to reduce smoking and or drinking, how to monitor complications, and also another topic covered is environmental health, talking about housing for them and also support. Maternal role is another topic covered in nurse family partnership, how to be a sensitive caregiver, how to really relate well with their newborns, and life course development, talking about their employments, getting employment for them, education, and even about their marriage and future children. The second family-based, evidence-based family program is the Incredible Years program. When we talk about the Incredible Years program, is for parents of children of children of different ages, for babies 0 to 12 months old, toddlers 1 to 3 years old, preschool 3 to 6 years, and school age children 6 to 12 years old. And the sessions vary from 9 to 16 sessions. This is a program for parents of these children of different ages to prevent them from using substances later in life. Another program, the third one, is Dare to be You. This is for parents and children 2 to 5 years of age. And in this program, parents and children they meet together for 10 weeks, minimum of 10 weeks on a weekly basis, where the family members eat together, thereby promoting bonding, promoting emotional bond between family members. Also, they they have activities like 2 hours of activities together, and parents also have their own activity where they participate simultaneously in developmentally appropriate sessions. In Dare to Be You, uh, for parents, it has been shown from research that there is the parental efficacy is increased. Parents are able to parent their children the way they're supposed to parent their children. Also help parents to nurture their children, to know how to relate with their children, how to correct their children, how to actually be there for their children at every point in time. And also, this particular program help parents to set limits for their children, because children need limits. And this program has also been discovered to increase social skills of young people, of children, and also helping them to be ready for school. It also helps them to do away with some oppositional behaviors, behaviors that are not in line with society, that are antisocial in nature, that are not in conformity with social norms. And also, this particular program help the young people to also be able to do whatever they need to do part time by increasing their autonomy and being able to manage themselves. So these are the outcome of this program, these evidence-based programs. The fourth one is SFP 10 to 14, which is called Strengthening Families Program. This is for parents and children 10 to 14. And the target group for this program, the fathers, is for fathers, mothers, and teenagers or preteens. This is not intended for high-risk families. And there are 7 sessions, 2 hours each session for parents and teenagers, and also additional sessions. And about 7 topics are covered for parents in this program. Topics like using love and limits, making out rules, encouraging good behavior, using consequences, building bridges, protecting against substance use, and using community resources. Topics for youth include having goals and dreams, appreciating parents, dealing with stress, following rules, handling peer pressure one and handling peer pressure two, and also reaching out to others. And research findings, very interesting. It's going to really affect alcohol use, the onset of alcohol use, lifetime drunkenness, cigarette use, marijuana use, and aggressive behavior. And this program also is able to help parents to be able to do what they're supposed to do as a parent, helping their parenting skills. Now we have another evidence-based program for families, multi-systemic programs. This particular program is for juvenile offenders and youth with serious behaviour problems from ages 12 to 17 and their families. And treatment ranges from 3 to 5 months because the intensity of treatment varies according to clinical uh, need of that family members. So the content of the multi-systemic therapy, we have individualized treatment, but intervention is we have structural and strategic family therapies, parent management training, behavioral therapy, and cognitive behavioral therapy. And there are 9 guiding principles of this particular intervention, of these treatments. For example, helping them to find the fit, helping them to be focused on their strengths, helping them to be responsible, increasing responsibility, and also helping them to develop appropriately. Now, we want to look at how do we strengthen parenting skills for prevention, because we have seen across the different programs that parenting skills actually work very well to prevent substance use among young people, among family members. So how do we strengthen our parenting skills? Number one is open communication. In any relationship, communication is key. It's very important. Without communication, there is no relationship. So when in a family, parents are able to create a safe environment where every member of that family, especially children and adolescents, have that opportunity to express their feelings, their thoughts, and their concerns without fear of judgment or punishment. This is going to really help to prevent substance use in the family instead of them to go out to share their thoughts, their feelings with strangers who can mislead them. They know that, oh, I can talk to my father, I can talk to my mother, I can talk to my cousin, I can talk to my uncle. Another way of strengthening parenting skills for prevention is by listening, active listening. Listening is different from hearing. When we listen with our eyes, with our ears. We are present. We avoid distraction as much as we can, both internal and external distraction. When someone is aware that, oh, my family members, they will listen to me, that individual will not be afraid to talk to them. And when we listen, we need to look at both verbal and non-verbal uh, cues that we'll be getting from someone that is talking to us. This will help us to address concerns early, and this will also strengthen trust that any member of the family is going to have, that, oh, whenever I have any issue, any challenge, whether my academic is declining, whether I have relationship issue, I can talk to my family member and they will listen to me without judging me. Another way of strengthening parenting skills for prevention is when we have clear rules and boundaries. When every member of the family are able to state those rules, they are so clear to everyone about drug use and every other uh, expectations in the family. And we also ensure that we have consequences in place for breaking the rules. Not having them in place, but also we need to be consistent. Not that, oh, A broke a rule, broke a particular rule, we are able to enforce consequences. But when B does that, we are not doing what we are supposed to do. We must be consistent when we are setting rules for acceptable behavior. Another way of strengthening parenting skill is by positive reinforcement. We should not just be looking at misbehavior of a child every time. We need to recognize and reward good behavior. This will encourage children to make responsible choices because on a daily basis, they are face to face with choices, with decisions. So whenever they do something good, no matter how little, that little achievement, we need to actually recognize and appreciate that. That one will help them to know that, oh, I have my family members that really cares for me. Another way of strengthening parenting skill is by building their self-esteem. Encourage their strengths. Every child, that every child has something good in him or her. There's a treasure in every child. Let's encourage their strengths, support their goals that we know that they are good. All this will help them to resist peer pressure to use substances. How do we now support drug using family members. Number one thing we need to do is to stay calm. I know as human beings, our first reaction may be, oh, to shout, depending on the way we relate with each other, depending on our family dynamics. But for us to support any drug using family member, we need to first of all stay calm, avoid accusations or confrontations, especially when the influence of drug is still in place in a child. That is not the time to say, sit down, let me talk to you. You're not supposed to be using drugs. Why are you using drugs? No. Stay calm and try as much as possible to educate yourself. We need education, we need knowledge about drugs, substances, the effects, consequences, and how do we support. We need to educate ourselves. Express that concern. It's normal to express concern, but be patient when you are expressing that concern. We need to also communicate openly and listen to the family's members' response. It's not that, oh, what do you want to say? You don't have anything to say. What do you even want? We have provided everything that you need in this family. There's nothing that you lack. Why? What happened? Listen to the family members' response. This is how to support any drug using family member. What do we need to do again? Support their recovery. Because, give me a moment. Okay. After we have expressed our concerns openly and listened to the family members' needs, I want to encourage getting a professional help. You can consult with a counselor or addiction specialist. If you don't know what to do. Oh, this is an issue. How do we handle it? And we also need to know that at every stage of drug use or substance use, we need to support their recovery. And recovery is a journey. And as you are doing that, as you are supporting their recovery, we also need to establish boundaries. Not that because we are supporting their recovery, we now be part of those people that are now enable them to even get more of these substances. We need to avoid enabling, even in the process of supporting their recovery. And we need to also prioritize our self-care. When we talk about self-care, our physical well-being is important, our emotional and our psychological well-being. Before we can care for any drug using family member, we must be in proper shape of health. Thinking about every aspect of our well-being, our physical, our mental, and our psychological well-being need to be all right before we can actually do that. So let's think about that as we are even giving that support to a family member who is using drugs. Because without us taking care of ourselves, there's no way we can take care of any family member who is engaging in the use of substances. In closing, family is not an important thing, it's everything, according to Michael J. Fox. So we have seen that family is so important. When we want to talk about prevention of substance use, it begins from the family. And we have references to support this presentation. Thank you for listening.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Odewale, for such an insightful presentation. And you've really given us a very clear and compelling look at the vital roles family play in preventing substance use and practical strategies for strengthening family bonds, improving parental skills, and also creating a supportive environment for young people who are valuable to the family. We really appreciate your expertise and the knowledge you have shared. We have some questions
Thank you.
from participants, but before we begin to take those questions, I will want to get some insight from Dr. Martins, if he has any.
Thank you so
Okay,
much, Dr. Oluseyi Odewale, for that very interesting and educative presentation. I want to believe participants have gained from your wealth of experience. This is very much appreciated. Well done. Ejikeme,
Thank you, sir.
thank you too for the moderation so far. Please continue with the questions and answer session.
it's okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Martin. We have quite a few questions, so let's try to see the ones that we can take. This one is coming from Simon Molonga, and he's sending in his question from South Korea. Thank you, Dr. Odewale, for this insightful presentation. I have two questions where you talked about family dynamics, drug use, protective factors, and interventions. Now, here is the first question. What are the most effective ways for parents to talk to their children about substance use? What are the most effective ways for parents to talk to their children about substance use? And the second question here is, how can families help prevent relapse for a loved one recovering from substance use? So these are the two questions from Simon.
Thank you, Simon, for that question. The first question, there are many ways of going about that, of talking to our children about substance use. Uh, Number one way of doing that is by having an honest conversation with a child about drug drug use, effects, consequences, and every other information that the child need to know, and listen to the response of that child. Also, another one is to teach them values. Your family values are very important. When we teach our children family values, they will be able to understand that drug use is not an acceptable way of life in our family. That is one strategy also of talking to young people about drug use. Let them know that you do not support substance use in the family. When they are aware of that very early, it's going to help them. And also encourage them to talk to you what they know. Encourage them to ask questions. When you encourage them to ask questions, they'll be able to know that whenever they're having any issue or concern, they can actually come to you about substance use. The second question, how do we support, how can family members support people in recovery? Uh, it's almost so it's like how to also prevent substance use because they've started using substances, they are recovering, is by also communicate with them, learn about those triggers, those things that triggers their relapse. That is why we need education as a family member who want to actually support someone who is using substances and is in recovery. And in recovery, I know the experts will also guide. We also guide family members, on how you can support them when they are passing through that journey because it's a journey. So the experts helping out will also give every family members their that opportunity to learn about what to do to help them as they are in the process of recovery. Also, you need to learn about their cravings. Yes, these are some of the things that the experts will actually put them through when they are in the process of recovery. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dewale. And Simon, I believe your question has been answered to your satisfaction. We have this one coming from Editor Mugo from Mugo is asking, we, dear Dr. Olusheyi, we also have a closet alcoholic. We also have closet alcoholics where the family has no notion that their significant other has well their use. What is your take?
The question again, please. The question again.
We also have closet alcoholics,
Okay.
closet CLOSET
T.
alcoholics,
Okay.
where the family has no notion that their significant other hides well their use, is hiding their alcohol use. So,
Okay.
what is your take in such situation?
Okay. My take is that you that knows about this can help the person and encourage them to go for treatment. The family members are not aware, but you can come in, you can help to encourage such individual to go for treatment. I know it may not be easy, but you can do it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have this one from Amna from Pakistan. Okay, Anna is just asking for a summary, at the end of the presentation. Perhaps if he could get the slide, definitely that will be made available to every participant. You're going to get that in your email. And then from Roy Kimanga, Roy is asking, what are the signs that a family member may need professional support to cope with their loved one's substance use? Roy is asking this question from Kenya. What are the signs that a family member may need professional support to cope with their loved one's substance use?
Thank you. I've mentioned during the presentation some of the warning signs. For example, withdrawal, academic decline. These are some of the signs. But when we discover this, we can actually encourage such individual to seek treatment. Yes, because sometimes there may be no sign. Not everyone well we uses substances. You can easily see that oh this person is using substance. But when you are aware, when you know, you can encourage such individual to go for treatment.
Okay. Um, we have this one from Nkone. Nkone is asking, how do you convince your child to listen to you as a parent than to listen to his peers?
Thank you for that question. That's why it's good to start early, to start building that relationship, that bond. When there's a healthy relationship between mother and child, that child will listen to you. But another thing I want you to understand, do you listen to your child? Sometimes ago I said something jokingly, we need to listen to our children. So you also, I want you to listen to your children. When you listen to your child, it will be easy for your child also to listen to you. Build that relationship. Have an honest conversation with that child. Be very calm. Be patient. Talk with kindness, and the child will listen to you. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. I believe our participants are really getting their questions satisfactorily answered. We have this one coming from Thomas. Thomas is asking, can we use Alcoholic Anonymous for children?
I Alcohol Anonymous, they will have age. They will have age range because I'm not sure because I've not been there, I've not checked Alcohol Anonymous. So maybe Dr. Martin can help us out about that.
Okay, this one is coming from Samson Oguche. Samson is asking, how do you help a client that their substance addiction is highly predisposed by their parental dynamics in terms of dysfunctional family?
Okay. Thank you. When we help people that are who are using substances, family members are also involved. Because when we talk about substance use or addiction, it's like a family disease. So family members also come in for counseling. So family members, they need to be counseled. They need counseling. They need help also. Even the process of supporting their ward or their child who is using substances. So they also need to they also need help. They need to be counseled. They need counseling also. This uh
Okay.
this is what we can do to help those family members that they are actually maybe the one I can call I don't want to call them maybe like risk factors for the use of substances for that individual because they may be actually be enabling or they may be even be passing through their own problem too. I mean the family members. And when a family member is passing through some challenges, how would that family member support another one? So they also need help.
Okay.
They need to see
We're
experts
going to
as well. Yes.
okay. Thank you. We're just going to take this one last question before we give Dr. Martin an opportunity to make some closing remarks before we call it a day in our today's webinar. This one is coming from Margaret Wada Julius from Nigeria. Thank you, Dr. Lushayi, for the wonderful presentation. Please, is it right to teach children the consequences of drug misuse?
Yes, that's why at their level, at their age, as a prevention professional, the different ages have different information that we can be giving to them. So according to their age. So as prevention professionals, we have different interventions for different ages. What we need to teach uh, children in early childhood stage is different from that of adolescents. So the information has to be age appropriate.
Okay, thank you so much. So at this point, I want to give the opportunity to Dr. Martin to make one or two remarks before we round up on today's webinar. Hello, Dr. Martin.
Uh, Thank you so much, Ejikema. You've really done very well in moderating this session. And once again, thank you, our speaker, Dr. Oluseyi Odewale, for that brilliant presentation once again. Like you rightly said, everything starts within the family and it also ends within the family. Everything starts and ends with the family. Very important. So how families play their role uh, determine whether the child is being exposed to the risk of substance use or serve as protective factors. So that again, I say thank you so much for drawing our attention to that. Even though we know there are other factors, but the family is the strongest unit of socialization. Even though other environmental factors or hereditary and so on play their roles, the family socialization network and ability or skills play significant role. But in some cases, you discover that people believe or assume that the peers or the outside environment, outside the home environment, plays more significant role. That is where parents also need to be well guided in line with this to have that very good understanding because indeed everything starts and ends with the family. And just like you said too, I'm quoting authority there, family is not important thing, but it's not just trying to remember how you put it. Family is not an important thing, but everything, right? I want to believe that was exactly how you put it. It's not just an important thing, but in fact, everything, everything. And I strongly believe that if family do what they expected to do, I think it will help reduce substance use to the barest minimum. And I also appreciate the fact that you responded so well to all the questions, particularly, emphasizing the importance of age-appropriate communication. Very
Yeah.
important. Then on Alcohol Anonymous for children, I want to also believe that the question or the source of the question have a very good understanding of Alcohol Anonymous. To my own understanding, it is for a group of people who are in recovery from alcohol use. So if we're talking of Alcohol Anonymous for children, it means that we are saying children who are in recovery, whether they should be alcohol anonymous. But another thing again is, if you look at the age bracket, if you talk of children, one is not very sure of the age bracket we are looking at. So anonymous group have their own dynamics, and that has to be followed. So whether it is not appropriate for children or not is a different thing altogether. So on this note, once again, I want to say thank you all for being part of this session. I know you missed our session in January, and we are hoping that very soon we will come with another session. We appreciate your brilliant questions, your participation, your encouragement, and I want to trust that you will join us again in our next session. So once again, our speaker, thank you so much for the excellent job. Our moderator, Ejikeme, thank you so much. Participants, thank you so much. And our colleagues from the ISSUP Global, Kwador, Radolf, and others, we say thank you for the support as we look forward to another session again. Thank you and bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.